about finding
A
talent.
very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to day 2 of the Seek Better Career Fair. Okay, cool. Just can I get a show of hands? Who joined us here yesterday for day 1? Who was here for day 1 of the fair? Okay, just one. Okay, just one or two people. For the rest of you, a very warm welcome. There are some 1,000 plus job opportunities for you outside from some of the top hirers in Singapore. And of course, as you might have seen, the CV photo looks to be very popular. So go check out those opportunities. But right now, we're going to get things started with our panel discussions for today. And you know, it's interesting because yesterday, we already heard about what employers are looking for. And some of the things that they highlighted in that talk were digital skills, tech skills. So hopefully our speakers for today can provide us a bit more insight into the specifics about what employers are looking for and what you can do to upskill in this area as well. So our first panel discussion for today are the top 5 in-demand digital skills you'll need in 2024 and beyond. And our panelists are Justin Ong, Commerce Director of Ogilvy Asia, Chua Zi-yong, Chief Operating Officer of Caro, and Jim Giam, Founder and CEO of FirstCom Academy. And this panel discussion will be moderated by David Setiawan, Head of Marketing, Job Street Singapore. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving them a very warm welcome to the stage.
Hello, welcome everyone. So how are you guys feeling today? I hope you guys have been enjoying our Seek Better Career Fair. So I saw like 2 people who came like for the first day, and then like you guys actually come for the second day. So hopefully it has been like a very pleasant experience for you guys. So today we're gonna actually like talk a little bit more about like the top 5 in-demand digital marketing skills for 2024 and beyond. So again, my name is David, Head of Marketing for Job Street Singapore, and we all know that actually like digitalizations have actually taken place since a few years ago, right? So especially like it was accelerated like during COVID, right? So the way we work has changed a little bit. Like some of you must be very happy because now we have flexi working arrangement, and then like the government is very supportive of this initiative, right? And then like, but the way we do things in the workplace have changed as well, right? So, and that means the skills that are actually in demand have slightly changed as well, right? So we'll find out more from like our great panelists today. What are the skills that you need to prepare for 2024 and beyond? And then like, yes, maybe let me introduce our first panelist today, Justin, right? So Commerce Director from Ogilvy. So Justin, like, how are you guys doing recently? And maybe you can, introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm Justin. Like what David said, I'm a Commerce Director of Ogilvy. What I focus on in Ogilvy largely is the implementation of technology into doing digital business, right? So day in, day out, I partner with brands, I partner with different e-commerce platforms, Lazada, Shopee, Grab, right? And then we find innovative solutions to then bring new experiences to the brand, right? So that is basically my remit as a commerce director.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I believe like most of you are familiar with Ogilvy, right? So next, like we have Chua Zi-yong, right? So Chief Operating Officer from Caro. So I believe like most of you know Caro as well, right? So amazing for Caro, right? So despite like just started like 7 years ago, but then like it's become like one of the largest actually like a marketplace in Singapore for car. So maybe like Zi-yong, if you don't mind to introduce yourself a little bit and maybe share a little bit about like your journey in Caro as well.
Sure. So my name is Zi-yong. I'm actually the CEO of Caro. I look after the people, the process, and the technology inside Caro. So my day-to-day actually involve how do I actually digitalize the workflow as well as making the whole entire business more transparent for both internal stakeholders as well as our customers, right? I believe if you guys have, I hope some of you have owned a car or thinking of owning a car, right? You will understand that buying a car from a used car dealer could be very daunting and very opaque, right? So what we strive to do and what we sell, actually it's not the car itself, because I believe if you want a car, you know what car you want. What we sell is the peace of mind and the transparency. And my job in Caro is to make sure that the service and that information is delivered to both internal and external customers like you guys, right? So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis.
Thank you, Chiyong, for your introduction. So we have another panelist today here with us, Jim Giam, the co-founder and then like a CEO of FirstCom Academy, right? So I did mention like, hey, like we need to learn new skills. So definitely like Jim will be able to share a little bit more. Maybe Jim, like if you can introduce yourself a little bit and then like what FirstCom is doing as well.
Right, so I'm Jim Giam. I'm the founder of FirstCom Academy. So prior to FirstCom Academy is an approved training organization providing WSQ accredited courses to everybody working in Singapore. Prior to running FirstCom Academy, I operate for 12 years FirstCom Solution, one of the largest digital marketing and digital development agency in Singapore. We hire around 187 people in Singapore operating this. So for the last 12 years, we have been providing simple digital services to small, medium enterprises, ranging from your domain names all the way up to email, web hosting, and then bringing forth your first website. Back then it was HTML websites and then CMS websites and then very quickly e-commerce website and then building digital marketing campaigns into all these websites. It's been really fun for me and my team. So COVID-19 was a great test of my agency, and during that period in time our resource was really stretched. We see hundreds of requests coming in on a daily basis, and really after the review was done, I seem to understand that all the requests that came in were all categorically largely the same. They want better content that can engage audiences better. They have simple bugs on their website. Their e-commerce payment gateway is failing. And it dawned on me that it's just not possible for me to increase my resource in any way just to tailor to the sudden maybe COVID-20, right? So that inspired me to start FirstCom Academy. So if you have always wanted to learn digital marketing skill set, like Google marketing, social media advertising, but you want to be handheld in a classroom, you want to learn from actual practitioners that have executed sometimes millions of dollars of ad spend for Singapore businesses, we are the company, we are the academy for you. So all our courses are within 24 hours. You can learn just over one weekend and get yourself accredited, most importantly, because in Singapore, I guess you cannot own self good lah. You have to be accredited. Somebody got to say that you have the skill set that you claim to progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, for the introduction. So, of course, thanks, Justin, and then like Chiyong as well. So let's get started. Like we have prepared like some burning questions, right? So we all know like COVID-19, like even though like it is like behind our back right now, right? So it has actually changed a lot of stuff, right? So I had like a small conversation with Chiyong, especially like before we started like this panel discussion, right? So definitely like a lot of companies has gone through like transformations, digitalizations. I think like Jim mentioned about like like we changed the way we do things. So maybe like I want to ask like you guys one by one, right? So your experience in the digitalizations journey, like maybe we can start from Chiyong first and then yeah.
Okay, so I think if you guys have been to car dealership and things like that, you will realize that actually the whole entire business is very people-driven, right? Because you need someone to service the car, you need someone to evaluate the price of the car, someone to sell the car, right? So the thing about COVID-19 was that I think a lot of companies, including ourselves, are forced to rethink in terms of how do we operate. And the truth of the matter is that even today, right, I think 1 year since most of the restrictions have been lifted up, we're still seeing a very big crunch in the labor market, right? And there's still, and of course, inflation is still a problem for most of us, right? So it forced us to actually rethink how should we better not just operate internally, but also serve our customers, right? And with that, actually, that forces us to rethink how our entire workflow, right? How can we move from manual to semi-digital to fully digital workflow, right? Because the thing is that in the past, maybe when we sell 100 cars, right, I can hire the people to actually, properly service the cars as well as service our customers. But now we sell more than 200, 300, 400 cars, right, just in Singapore alone, right? It is no longer a question for us to say, hey, let's go out there and hire and whole, entire army of mechanics and inspectors and whatnots, because it's just not scalable. And that actually forces us to rethink, right? What are the tools that we give to our stakeholders internally, right? How do we present this to our customers so that, with the existing same workforce that we have, how can we maintain the quality of service, but at the same time, right, be able to meet the demand of the market?
Thank you, Jim. How about you, Jim? Like, what do you think? I mean, like, probably you know a little bit more about this one. So for us, actually, we have shifted a little bit more to digital, especially during COVID, because physical events not like really possible back then. But how about you, Jim? Like, do you see like a similar trend, or maybe like your own experience as well?
Well, businesses have definitely been impacted in varying ways because of COVID-19. And the most important thing is for businesses to make a profit, right? So whether it's work from home, whether it's making changes to the business, I think one of the most important thing is to really reevaluate this skill set called digital marketing skill set. I don't really think that digital marketing is now a skill set only for digital marketers. If you really look at the job portals that are all around, including JobStreet, you would see that many different industries across the board, there are many jobs available. However, digital skill set is already one of the requirement. You see receptionists even needing to contribute to social media marketing campaigns. You see sales managers across the board being asked if they know how to handle leads that are coming in through Google Marketing or Facebook. So I think the most important thing for everybody is to really relook at if you're not learning digital tech skills because you feel that, hey, this is not for me, I think digital tech skills is now fast becoming more like in the past when people ask, do you know how to use Microsoft PowerPoint? Do you know how to use Microsoft Excel? This is really important, especially if you're preparing yourself for the future.
All right, thank you very much, Jim, for sharing. So how about you, Justin? Like, of course, like Ogilvy is very digitally driven. So do you see any changes like from the client's preference or even like the way Ogilvy works as well?
Definitely. So if you look at it, if you observe the market, right, during COVID-19, a lot of companies didn't make it, right? But those who eventually survived, they actually embrace change. They transform themselves, they adopt digital skill sets, right? So I come from two angles, right? There's the brands that I work with, as well as within the Ogilvy organizations, right? And in both, what I observe is a shift in mindset, right? Companies, even Ogilvy themselves, the willingness to accept technology as part of their process workflow, right? And constantly looking out for digital solutions, using technologies to improve efficiency, right? The market has become so competitive, right? That right now, when every brand and every company out there are looking for digital solutions as a result to then increase efficiency, right? If you don't, then you're just not as competitive, right? So, yeah, it's the mindset shift that I really observe, happening in the landscape right now.
Thank you. Yeah. So I guess like that's the reason why you guys are here to listen a little bit more, like what actually like companies are looking for in candidates in 2024. So that's gonna be like the next questions I'll be asking, right? So definitely like there's a shift in behaviors, a shift of like actually the way company actually operates as well. But maybe we can start from Chiong again, like if you don't mind, like so what kind of like jobs that you think will actually like flourish in 2024 and beyond?
Okay.
I think they want to hear from all of us here.
I think everybody yesterday probably has spoken that they want software engineers, developers, right? People that understand coding, building stuff. So I probably won't repeat that. But I think what is the biggest gap that I see today is actually the people in the middle, right? The fancy word to say is people that do digital transformation. But the reality is that it's people who understand how to use technology, right? At the same time, understand the business use case at the working level, right? Because what we have today in solutions and solutions out there in the market is I have a lot of platforms that can solve my day-to-day problem. But there's a very big gap in terms of how do I translate what is provided, let's say your Oracles of the world or your Salesforce of the world, right? The capability that they have to how it is being implemented to the ground, right? So with that, we are talking about project managers who understand, right, implementations of this technology. You're talking about business process analysts who is able to put all of that together, you know, with all the workflows as well as the tools together, so that, you know, the tools would work as intended, right? And you also would need to have, you know, business analysts, right, who is able to extract the output, right, of all of this, you know, digitalization efforts, right? You know, putting all this data onto the server, right? How do I help to drive better decision making on a day-to-day basis? So actually, that group of people are actually very important and very critical, right? Beyond, you know, software engineers that was mentioned yesterday.
Thank you, Jim, for sharing. How about you, Jim? Like, what do you think will be like the roles that will actually like, you know, like grow beyond like 2024, right? So, I mean, of course, like we have heard about generative AI. Even for me, like I'm learning generative AI myself, right? So, do you think this is like one of the requirements in the future, or like do you think like there are other roles?
Well, myself, I think that there are big software tech companies that are continuously trying to improve the usability of their software, like even Google AdWords, Meta Business Manager. There is no need to worry about technical complexity, whether AI is coming in and then generative AI or any other form of automation is going to come in. I think they will make it as usable as possible because the softwares need people to use it, right? So I particularly find that in my own company, where FirstCom Academy and FirstCom Solution, the biggest problem that I have is when people don't know how to identify problems. That is one problem that I have. Or I have people that don't know how to identify problems and then they know how to provide solutions. And it's always been bothered. I've always been bothered by this. How come they don't know? Or they just bring problems to you expecting you to have all the solutions. And then we look into the working lifestyle of everyday person working in Singapore. 9 a.m. you go to work, 6 p.m. you go home. You are a programmer, you become very good at programming. You are a salesman, you become very good as a salesperson, right? But there is no time left for you to think about how things can be done better. And today, if you want to know how to get things to be done better, you need digital skill sets. You need to know how to reach out to more people, how to automate things better, how to improve conversion. If not, you're not really going to be able to then make an impact, right? Or if you want to become a higher level executive. But the best salesman, if most of you can understand, would be a terrible sales manager, right? When are you going to acquire all the important skill sets like critical thinking, you know, deciding between two decisions, which one will be more beneficial to the company in the long run, right? And then again, hectic lifestyle, 9 to 6, you don't have the time to improve. So I really encourage everybody who feel stuck, feeling sometimes even to a point that lack of motivation to go to work already. What you need is not sometimes a new job, but what you need is new information, right? To come in and then suddenly you know, gradually day after day, you start to realize, hey, this thing that I've been doing can indeed be done better, right? And then you get so motivated, and then next thing you know, you get promoted, you get etc., right?
Yeah. Thank you, Jim, for sharing. So now I want to ask like each of you these questions. I think this is the main reasons why they are here, right? So I mean, I asked you about the roles just now. However, if I'm about to ask you guys, right? So what will be like the top 5 in-demand digital skills, right? So, I mean, we mentioned about the role. I think like Jim, you mentioned a little bit about like critical thinking and all those stuff. But then like let's actually like give our audience here like a little bit more concrete top 5 digital skills that they need to pick up for their future roles or even for their current roles right now, right? So maybe we can start from Justin, right? Justin, where do you think like what are the skills that you think they need to pick out?
Right. So, just pure based on my
Sure.
personal observation, I think the ability to come up with digital solutions. So I really think digital skills, the ability to code, the ability to write scripts and create automated solutions. That's one of the skills, but that's just the execution level, right? In between, like what Ziyong is saying, right? We definitely need someone who is able to identify business issues and implement these solutions to address those business issues, right? So a business analyst or a digital strategist or like digital project managers. These are roles and skill sets that's required also in the digital landscape to make sure that we find the right solutions or we identify the right problems and match it with the right solutions. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Justin. How about like Jim again?
Oh, well, I work daily with small, medium enterprises. So
Yeah.
the most important thing for small, medium companies, even my own company, right, is to make a profit.
Yeah.
And therefore, the most important skill set that you definitely would need to have is what is going to really help businesses get more business in Singapore. So we examine when somebody in Singapore wants to find anything that have caused them any interest, they head over to Google. So the skill set to be able to maneuver and make sure that the company that you own or the company that you work for is able to organically come out free in all these search results that is a habitual thing that Singaporeans, they want to search anything, they search for it. My friend just got a fine. He wants to go to LTA's website. He also go to Google to search for LTA's website. Nobody remembers the domain name. So the skill set to be able to appear, whether by paying or whether it's free, on Google, to me it's a very lucrative skill set. Many companies would really hire you. Second is the weakness of Google, right? If nobody is searching for the particular product or keyword or the remedy, then even if you have enormous ad budget, you will not be able to reach out to anybody, right? So then we have to go to where the people are, which is, 97% of Singaporeans or people living in Singapore are on social media, learning how to use push marketing to reach out to them, kindle an interest, and then retarget them, and then try to convert them into a lead so that you can better the opportunities that you have is the number 2 skill set. So digital advertising skill sets to me would be the easiest way for you to see an impact. It's not difficult to learn now. 24 hours, a few days. Online, there are also free courses that you are able to pick up. But if you want to see an immediate impact, I think this would be the fastest for you.
Okay, thank you, Jim, for sharing. And how about you, Jiyong? Like, have you identified like what will be the top 5 skills that they need to learn right away?
I think everybody needs to learn how to use Gen AI tools. I think mentioned Gen AI just now, right? And I think Gen AI is a very, very interesting space because it actually cuts across all levels, from beginners all the way to expert level. I think anyone today, let's say there's a project given to you or a task given to you, the easiest thing you can do is go to ChatGPT and ask, this is my challenge. How should I break this challenge down into steps, right? And then you look at that, the suggestions, and then you execute step by step, right? I think it's just like what just now Jim mentioned about using Google Search. Actually, ChatGPT can do that for you actually much more elegantly and efficiently, right? And of course, as you progress upwards, right? I think if you go and look online right now, I think there's a lot of discussion about prompt engineering, right? Prompt engineering actually is a very interesting and emerging space in the tech space, right? So that will involve how do you write the prompts that will go into the LLMs, right? The large language model, right? To help get better outputs, right? That by itself is also a skill set that I don't think is exclusive to engineers, right? In fact, right, I think engineers probably has a disadvantage because I would say linguists and people who are able to break down a task and process into crystallized steps have a much more advantage in terms of picking up prompt engineering and work and being a prompt engineer, right, in a tech company to help write prompts so that they can better automate and use Gen AI for their day-to-day tasks.
Okay, thank you, Jiyong, for sharing. So yeah, I mean, if I try to summarize here, right? So definitely there are 5 skills here that I guess you guys actually mentioned. So one of it that's actually like, of course, like performance marketing, generative AI, and then like the ability to actually like project manage, and then like the ability to sell as well. I mean, like this is a soft skill. However, like you have to actually like sell to everyone, right? Not only to your clients. If let's say you're in the client-facing kind of role, but like you also have to sell to your like managers, right? So you have to sell your ideas. Even when you go for interviews, you have to sell yourself, right? So, so these are the skills that like probably like you guys will want to focus on. Like of course, like we have Firstcom here, like they have like learning platforms for us, JobStreet as well. Like we do have like SeekMax product. I mean, if you guys actually were in the opening speech by our chief growth officer, like YY, right? So we actually introduced that product as well. So you can check out like a product, you can check out like a Firstcom Academy, and Google is your friend, and definitely like generative AI. I personally believe like there's gonna be a big thing, right? So you can generate like images, you can generate like search results, you can even generate codes, right? I read like an interesting article recently, like there's this one guy who actually generate like a plugin for WordPress using like ChatGPT. Well, not the most optimized one, I guess. Like you guys mentioned that, like you still need to actually like clean up the codes because like human is still needed there, but you need to know how to use the tool, right? So we don't want to lose out because like in the past when there's a performance marketing, there's like email and all those stuffs. Yeah, some people lose out because they believe like, hey, okay, like this is just like a trend that will pass by over time. But so yeah, keep in mind, guys. So don't forget to actually like note this down. So I think like we have like a lot of job seekers here, right? So I think like what they want to know from each of us here, right? So probably it's like, what are you guys looking for in a new hire, right? So maybe like soft skill or like technical skills. Maybe a little bit about your expansion plan, if let's say you guys don't mind to share a little bit about that one. But like, how do they increase their chance to actually get hired in the tech companies? Maybe you can share from your company's perspective, if you don't mind. Maybe we can start from Jim.
For us, if we disregard the actual interview process first, right? What my HR team look out for right now is whether people have what Google in the article that I read says that they have a growth mindset. You have already seen what happened during COVID-19, how it can really impact businesses. And especially if you are applying for a job in my company and then you are a Singaporean with SkillsFuture credit that has already been given to you and you have not yet utilized it because it's literally free. Tens of thousands of courses that are available for you. Pick a genre that you like and you would be able to upskill, right? I'm a firm believer that you are able to improve if you change the kind of information that you put into your mind and the exposure and the network that you have. So if you don't have this growth mindset, you would already be eliminated in the shortlisting process, and that's just what I feel is relevant for today's audience. Understand that your resume is the biggest, gatekeep to helping you get a lot more interview opportunities, and with a lot more interview opportunities, there would be a lot more sense and a lot more better offers that would be for you to evaluate.
Thank you, Jim. Yeah. So Justin, maybe like I want to ask you next because like you've been smiling. I don't know whether like you agree with Jim or you have anything to add on or you have a different belief.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting because when I was listening, I thought like, going for the interview, you show like, hey, I used up my SkillsFuture credit. And then you pass it. But I 100% agree with what Jim is saying, right? I think that the mindset is important, right? The willingness to embrace change, to be versatile, to be able to, just accept the anxiety and, accept what is coming your way, willing to change and learn along the way. That is so important, right? Just a few years ago, we don't even know what is AI. And right now, every day we are using AI, right? Every single day we are. So if we don't embrace this change, we'll be living in 3 years ago where, we sort of resist tech a little bit, right? So that is very, very important. But to me, I look out for another trait also, right? I look out for the ability for people to connect the dots, right? So what do I mean by that? I want to have someone in my team who is able to take two completely irrelevant stuff and put them together and discover a new innovation, discover a new way of doing things, right? Or discover a new experience that we can bring to the brand. I think that is very important for us. That's where we start, discovering what are the new creative ways that we can use technology in our day-to-day work, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. So, how about you, Siyong? Like, do you have any? Yeah.
Sure. So actually, we hire a lot of people. I mean, today, Caro, we have 4,500 staff in 6 countries. In fact, we are expanding to Hong Kong also later this year, right? So we do hire a lot and we interview a lot of people. So I think the common thing that we really look at, I think what's mentioned earlier by Jim and Justin about growth mindset, as well as connecting the dots. I think I would just end off by saying the clarity of thought, right? Because throughout most of our interview process, right, how we usually ask candidates is that, it's not show me the certificates that you have, right? But more like, hey, what is your past experience, right? The things that you have done before. Are you able to articulate from the very beginning, when the project was being given or the task being given to you, right? How do you break it down? How do you execute, and what is the result that you get at the end of the day? I think the clarity of thought of what you are doing on a day-to-day basis will help carry through whatever skill sets or whatever soft skills that you have developed over the years, right? In the industry or in the job or in the position that you are in, right? So having that clarity of thought will help us assess whether or not if you come over to Caro, right? Will you be able to deliver, or will you be able to help others, right, in the position that you're being hired for? Yeah, so that's something that we really look very close at.
Thank you, Chiyong. So yeah, I mean, from my perspective, I totally agree with the three of you, because like once in my career as well, I worked for like one of the top tech companies as well, right? So I can attest to that, right? So I was interviewing for an account manager role. Right. So the first question that they asked, I mean, they gave me like this very difficult question, not like this ridiculous question that normally like Google asks you, like if you're a pencil and you're in a blender, like what will you do, right? So I was asked a different question, like it was totally like a product-related questions that for sure I will not be able to answer because like obviously I was from outside, but then they wanted to test my thought. So I think like Jung mentioned that one. That's very critical because like they didn't want me to actually give them an answer that like, hey, I know like what is the exact answer that you want to hear, because what they are testing is actually like they want to see like what is my train of thought. Can I actually like break it down, and can I actually mitigate the situation when I actually like don't have like a full perfect answer for this situation as well. And they want to see whether like mentally I'll be very stable when I'm actually facing this kind of actual roadblocks, because like a lot of people say like I want to work for tech companies because it's so sexy, it's so like fun, because like you play hard, you actually work very hard as well, so you need to be able to be stay calm all the time, right? And then of course like like the digital skills, performance marketing skills, like definitely like you need to upskill yourself. 14 years ago, when I actually started as a marketer, like no one actually asks you to know like how to run campaigns on Facebook, on Google. But now if you look for like an entry-level marketing jobs, they ask you to be able to actually run a performance marketing campaign. Now I was like, wow, right. So time has changed. And within like the span of like 14 years when I actually started my career, right? So yeah, definitely like you guys want to actually like note down on those things as well. So by doing those things, actually will help you actually increase your chance as well. And one more thing that I want to add on, right? So a lot of tech companies appreciate when you actually have side projects. I mean, side project doesn't mean that you work for another company and actually earn a second income, but then like side projects can be anything, right? Because if you're passionate about something, actually a lot of tech companies, they want to know like, okay, because like sometimes like when you go for an interview, they are asked, right? So what is your weakness? Oh, I work too hard. That means like you don't have time for your personal like own stuff. But what they want to hear is actually like, okay, are you able to actually manage your time like properly, and you are able to pick up like other hobbies or other like skills outside work?
because that's very important. Time management is actually very important as well, right? So yeah, make sure like you. I mean, I'm not too sure whether like Justin, Chiyong, and like Jim will actually hire you by doing this, but like that's my own view, and then that's my experience when I actually like interviewed with big tech companies. They will ask you this question: outside work, what will you do? A lot of people say like, oh yeah, you know, like I will still think about work, but that's not the answer they want. They want to know whether you learn about generative AI. So again, like if you haven't used your Skills Futures credit, use it, learn new skills, or if let's say you have another hobby like you like photography and all those stuff, even though it may not be very related to the work that you're doing or you're applying for, but they appreciate that you can actually like take a break and actually like pick up something that may be useful in the future as well for the company. All right, yeah, thank you, of course, Justin, Jim, and Chiyong for sharing. I mean, I have two other questions, right? So, job seekers. I mean, like a lot of people wants to actually enter the tech companies, right? Despite of various reasons. And then like a lot of people, they don't have any backgrounds in the tech industry or tech companies. What would be your tips for them, right? So maybe we can start from Justin first.
Yeah, I think the way to look at it is there's a progression to it, right? So you want to enter the tech industry because it's cool, it's sexy, so be it, right? But where do you want to be in the tech space? This tech space is so huge, right? Where do you want to be? And to be very strategic in your progression towards that ambition that you want to be, right? And look and be realistic with yourself. Look at where you are right now and slowly plan your way there. So an example is this, right? You perhaps want to lead a tech team in a big tech firm, right? And right now you're maybe doing project management, right? How do you then start to accept and learn new skills, right? With Jim, of course, and then start working closely with or start putting your hand up, right? And say, hey, I want to join this tech project, do some tech stuff, and then slowly progress your way through, right? Leverage on whatever experience that you have already gathered, right, through these projects, and slowly make your way there. But to be very, very crystal clear on what is your career progression, how do you want to make your way there? And I think that is the way that you can then slowly penetrate and get there. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Justin. So how about you, Jim? Like any tips for our job seekers here who actually plan to enter the tech firm or tech industry?
Well, if you are somebody who has experience in the car trade, for example, right? And you just started, let's say you have been in sales and marketing for 5 years in a car trade, right? And you just started to learn Google marketing, you just started to learn social media advertising. I think the chances of a car dealer hiring you to come in and perform their digital marketing is a lot higher than if you were to be somebody that has been doing digital marketing in another trade for even the same period of 5 years. Why is that? Because generating the lead, creating the content requires you to know the product well. That 5 years of you being a salesperson promoting the product, it really helps create a different sense of visual, a different sense of understanding towards the target audience. So really, I don't think that a lot of people really understand about this and they put it off because I've already started in this vertical of a job employment. I don't want to cross into another thing. I think as human beings, whenever we get started and then we know what we're competent in, then we start to build a lot of imaginary boundaries to say that, hey, this is not for me, that is not for me. Honestly, I personally hope that you can give digital tech skills a shot. You'll be so surprised. The softwares are so easy to use. It seems very complicated, sexy at times, like what we say. But after I've been repeating it for sometimes even 20 times in a day to different customers or different people, right? It's just the same thing. It's just something like you don't understand. So therefore, when I say to you, it seems like, oh, wow, But actually, the moment you understand it, it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and you will then be able to capitalize on the skill set and perform really better in the new role that you are going to take on, right?
Yep. Thank you, Jim, for sharing. And how about you, Chiyong?
Yeah, actually, Jim took what I wanted to say. because I will say it's actually much easier for us to teach people how to use tools than to teach people the nuances of an industry, right? So if you're already, let's say in a car trade or, whatever industry you're in, right? Actually, you have a heads up, right? Versus other candidates who only have the tech skills, because it will take the company more time to onboard and to climatize that person to the nuances of the industry, right? And maybe to add on, to give more direct suggestions what you can do. I think today it is much easier to pick up tech skills than say 10 years ago, right? 10 years ago, I actually self-taught myself programming, right? Back then when Android first came out, actually more than 10 years ago, 2009, 2008, right? Back then, all I have is a whole bunch of forums. I have to dig through the forums, use Stack Overflow myself to go and figure out the problems. Actually today, if I were to learn a new language today, all I need to do is go to ChatGPT, right? Go to Google, right? There's a bunch of free open source tools available for you to pick up new technology, new skill sets, right? And actually just understand, right, how some of these tools are being used is good enough, and reflect how that could be done in your day-to-day process. Try it out, right? And you become an expert at it. It's very, very it's very, very easy to find an opening, whether it's at Google or Amazon, because all of us tech companies, we are not high up in the sky. And eventually we need to reach back down to the ground, whether ourselves or our customers will need to understand how to use these tools and technology. And that's where you come in, where you can value add to the tech companies to serve the clients.
Okay, thank you, Chiyong. So, yeah, just to wrap up, it's not impossible to enter the tech companies. Focus on transferable skills. Like what I heard is actually like upskilling is very important, right? So, do check out FirstCom Academy's booth, to see what courses that they offer, and then of course if you are looking for opportunities to enter tech companies, of course please go to Karo's booth, and then check out FirstCom Academy, our booth as well, SIG, Ogilvy, probably you can reach out to Justin if you want to. But I want to thanks Justin, Jim, and actually Chiyong for coming down today, for sharing with our job seekers on the top skills that they need to pick up for 2024 and beyond. And yeah, hopefully you guys will enjoy our career fair. We still have a few more hours before the end of our career fair. Do check out the Lucky Draw booth as well. If let's say you're applying for jobs during this career fair, check it out. But thank you everyone. Let's give a round of applause to our panelists here. All right.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you are just outside the stage, please make your way to the far right-hand corner of the expo. As I said, we're going to have another panel discussion about what I think is probably a very popular debate that's going on in the moment about the future of work in Singapore. So if you're just outside or if you're further in the expo hall, make your way down to the far right-hand corner to our stage for our panel discussion about the future of work in Singapore and what kind of format that will take.